Just a week or so back, some local turkeys were in for a bit of a sightseeing trip of our great state. Between Grand Rapids and Lansing, some birds were identified as potentials for a turkey relocation. Once the birds had been baited and the rocket cannon loaded, the DNR waited for the right day. I asked Katie Keene, one of the folks involved in this process, to tell us what was going on here today.
Today we're relocating turkeys from southern Michigan, areas where we have good populations of birds, and we're moving them to northern areas where we found pockets of low numbers. Last 10 years we've been seeing some decline in real specific areas for bird numbers. This morning we rocket netted 15 turkeys, actually a couple more than that, a couple got loose on us. So we have 14 hens and 1 jake. So the goal is we'll have some babies come spring up in this area.
So the birds in the winter, they use a lot of their fat in their breast and other places that they hold the fat. And so if they come down out of the winter too skinny, then they don't have a lot of fat to put into the egg. And so the eggs might not hatch or things like that, or the birds might be weak that hatch out of those. We don't know for sure why they're having poor nest success, but all of those things could be possible. So we're going to try to supplement those populations and give them a new batch of birds that have lots of fat, because our birds down here have been eating well. These birds here that we're taking up north have been having free food on the corn pile for 2 weeks, so they have a lot of fat. So they should have a lot of fat to go into those eggs, and hopefully all their chicks will hatch.
These birds were going to be relocated to some state land near the Baldwin area. I asked Katie just how they decide where to put the captured birds.
We find those areas where we are missing populations that had been there in the past, areas that are going to have good habitat come spring, roosting areas, areas where they're not going to cause a problem, and the best places for guys to be able to target come spring.
This part of the state does have a lot of state and federal land, and lots of opportunities for hunters. Volunteers from the NWTF and the Michigan Wild Turkey Hunters Association were on hand today to help out, and they think this is a great area to relocate the birds.
I think we've always said there's about 50%. Now, and I'm not saying just state, neither. There's a lot of federal land, too, so a lot of public land, you know. So, and that's what makes it nice. I mean, I was a kid here, raised up in Baldwin, and we could never afford property and never had to. I mean, we had half of Lake County to ram around in, you know, so.
And the turkey numbers are down, you think, up in this area?
Yes, they are. We got plenty of room. We just need more birds.
Yeah, I think the best year our turkey club had feeding is we'd fed like 13,000 birds. This year we're just a little over 2,000. You know, and maybe they're not all getting reported to us, but a lot of them are, and so at that rate the numbers are down.
After the birds had arrived and some of the local press, we all caravanned out to the spot to release the birds. As we traveled, I had Katie explain why this time of year is picked to do this kind of work.
From what we found, the reason we do it this time of year is we want to make sure snowpack's not too high in the areas, and they're doing just fine in areas where we've done this before. This is how wild turkey populations have come about in northern Michigan, is from this type of practice. This is your hunting dollars at work. You might buy a spring turkey hunting license, and this is one way that we're helping turkey numbers, great hunting opportunity, good success. That's one of the important things we look at, is hunter satisfaction, just as much as whether or not you got a bird, as if it was a satisfying hunt. Did you see birds?
We had a few of the local COs on hand today as well to release a few of the birds. And you know, it's pretty neat to see sportsmen, DNR, and law enforcement all working together.
I got a good shot of them.
Ready?
I had been in contact with the DNR for several weeks to make this shoot happen. You would think that you could just net birds just about any day you would like, but that is not the case. Weather and time of day all factor in. The DNR doesn't like to keep the birds overnight if at all possible. So if the birds aren't in the location early enough in the day, the entire process is delayed. And you might think, well, what difference could a handful of birds really make? Well, this is one of the same spots that birds were first reintroduced to the state. And just look how good those handful of birds have done up through today. Thanks to all the hardworking folks that made this event happen, the turkey season in Michigan has become the favorite for many outdoor enthusiasts. And if for some reason you have yet to match wits with a big gobbler on a spring morning, Well, because of what happened here today, you should still have plenty of chances to try here in Michigan's Out of Doors.